about our Unit 6 coordinate geometry. And we're going to be talking about different things like our slope, our distance, and our midpoint formulas that are going to help us prove different things about lines and shapes on a coordinate plane. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is slope. Now, slope is the measure of steepness of a line. We are going to use the symbol m for slope. So our equation, m equals the change in y over the change in x. This little triangle here means delta. It is a Greek letter D, which means the change in. So we can still use our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember that we like to use a little phrase, rise over run, to describe our slope. So we have four types of slope. Okay? We have slope of 0, right, which is a horizontal line. Easy to remember because it kind of makes the letter Z. If I want to look at a negative slope, this is our slope going to the upper left. It's going to have a m equals a negative number. Positive slope going to our upper right, our m will have a positive number. If we have a vertical line, this is what we call an undefined slope. And an undefined slope could also refer that we have no slope. And this is when we have something like a number over 0. We have an undefined fraction. So if we are looking for the slope between 2 points, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to write the slope formula. So m equals our delta y over our delta x. We can label our points if we need to. And now I'm going to plug my points in. So I've got negative 2 minus 3 over negative 4 minus 5. When I compute this, I'm going to get negative 5 over negative 9. And we know a negative over a negative is going to give us a positive. So my slope is 5/9. Number 2. Okay. Start by writing our formula. M equals the change in y over the change in x. I'm going to plug my numbers in. So 6 minus negative 5 over negative 3 minus negative 2. When I calculate that, 6 plus 5 is going to give me 11. Negative 3 plus 2 is going to give me negative 1. So my slope is 11 over negative 1. Number 3. Again, writing my formula down. Plugging my numbers in this time. 3 minus 1. Negative 2 minus negative 2. So here's a situation where we have 2 over 0. So rather than leaving this as a number, we are going to say that is undefined. We could also say that it has no slope, but that's going to be our answer. In our last one, our slope, change in y over the change in x. This time, when I plug in 3 minus 3 over 5 minus negative 4, this time I get a 0 on the top of the fraction. So this time I'm going to say that my slope is just 0, regardless of what my denominator is. So one thing that we're going to be very concerned about is whether or not my lines have a relationship between their slopes. So if two lines have equal slopes, then they are parallel, meaning they'll never intersect. They're going to be equidistant at every point. If two lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals, so what we mean by that is if I have a number like 2 and I need to flip and negate my number, so if my slope is 2, then my perpendicular slope is going to be negative 1/2, flipping and negating. So what we're going to say is that these are going to be perpendicular. is going to be very helpful for us later because we're going to find out whether or not they make right angles. So if I want to show that a line is parallel, I really want to show that they have equal slopes. So I'm going to plot my points. So 4, 7, 2, -3. I connect those. And then I have 3, -4, and 5, 6. I can see visually that they look like they're parallel. Now what I want to do is I want to justify that they're parallel. So if I take my first set of points, my change in y over my change in x, -3 minus 7 over 2 minus 4. -3 minus 7 is going to give me -10, and 2 minus 4 is going to give me -2. So my slope is 5. For my other segment, again, my slope formula, plugging my values in, 6 minus -4 over 5 minus 3 gives me 10 over 2, and again, my slope is 5. So since my slopes are equal, that's going to tell me that my two segments, or lines if I graph the full line, are parallel to each other. In number 6, I want to show that the line is perpendicular. So I'm looking to show that my two segments have negative reciprocal slopes. So I'm trying to show that they have negative reciprocal slopes. So if I graph my first set of points, I have 1, -3. I've got 4, 6. My second set of points, -1, 1, and 8, -2. Again, they look like they're intersecting to create a right angle, but let's double check. So my slope formula, delta y over delta x. Plugging in my numbers, 6 minus -3 over 4 minus 1. 6 minus -3, giving me 9 over 3. So my slope here is 3. If I take a look at my second one, my change in y over my change in x, -2 minus 1 over 8 minus -1. So we've got -3 over 9. Now it's very important that we reduce our fraction. So now that we see that my two lines have negative reciprocal slopes, therefore my lines are perpendicular to each other.